Hi, friend. Welcome to another episode of Nonprofit Courage Lab podcast. I'm so happy you're here. Today, we are talking about how to raise millions sustainably. And I'll walk you exactly through what I think that it means to do this work in a sustainable way so that you are not burning out, you are not working overtime, you are not pulling in late nights after your kids go to sleep, you're working on really strenuous proposals and writing grants and forget it. You know what I'm saying? Like, we didn't get into this work so that we could burn ourselves out and do all of the things. It is possible to simplify your efforts and have them be even more effective with less work and better work. So, I'm going to walk you through three things that I see are a huge component to raising millions sustainably and the mistake that's associated with those three things. Are you ready? Let's jump in. So, the first way to burn yourself out and make this unsustainable work is asking for too little. I see this so often because what we're doing is we're actually settling for big gifts. This is the hardest part. $100,000 is a very big gift. And for some people, that's not their best gift. And what I see so often is we have really audacious goals. We want to raise multi-millions to impact our community, to impact the world. Our mission is really big and it demands millions. And we look at our top donors and we think, well, they're already giving a lot, so I can't go back to them. I don't see the need to go back to them. I need to raise these millions from someone else. And we settle for a big gift because we think, well, I can't possibly ask them for more. At that point, it's offensive. At that point, it's presumptuous. At that point, I put the relationship at risk. And where we are now is good enough. And it's not our job to make philanthropic decisions for our donors. It's our job to go to them as real partners and level with them. This is a huge mind shift for my clients to consider your donors as business partners in your mission. When you're talking to someone as a business partner, you can level with them. You can get real about the real need. You can negotiate. You can be honest about what's possible and what isn't. You're honest about your shortcomings. You don't act like you have it all together. You're in this work together, and it's going to require real conversations about what's really going on, what's really needed. So we have to drop this narrative that we've been told that folks with a lot of money have way more power than us. And when it comes to your mission, that's not true. They cannot get this done without you. They want to have a certain impact in the world, and they cannot create that on their own, separate from your nonprofit. There's no way around that. And if you're effective, like my clients are, they're the most effective at what they do in their particular niche, whether that's education, whether it's animal welfare, whether it's arts and culture, whatever it is. If you're really effective and you're already receiving 100K plus donations, like all my clients are, then you know that you have so much trust and credibility with your current base, and you're likely leaving hundreds of thousands, if not millions, on the table because we're settling for those big gifts. When that donor's best gift to your organization that's more in line with their passion, with their growing commitment to your mission, that best gift may be 2x, 3x, 4x, 5x what they are giving. What they're giving over the course of 3 to 5 years, perhaps their best gift is to give that amount in 1 year. And that may make you wildly uncomfortable, but that is how to do this work sustainably. Doing better work with the donors that you have and thinking about what matters most to them, their level of passion, their level of trust, their level of commitment to your organization, and not necessarily what you deem to be good enough. That's a big enough gift from them. Got to go get the money from somebody else. Why? Why? I would really interrogate those thoughts. And if you think that asking someone for their best gift coming from a place of true partnership, talking to them like the partners that they are, is somehow offensive, then you really don't have a good read on your relationship and how strong it is. I see this with my clients all the time. So stop settling for the big enough gifts and start having conversations with donors as business partners in your mission. And part of that is negotiation. So my client, the Teaching Well, I'm now on their board, full disclosure, they're amazing. They're the best. They're helping to retain educators in our school system. If you know me at all, you know that I'm really passionate about that. I come from a family of educators. It's a huge deal to me. I think we are failing teachers. I think we are failing our students in public schools across the nation. It's something that really matters to me. And so the Teaching Well, when we worked together and they were a client before I was on the board, started implementing this. They were talking with funders and saying, hey, look, you've been funding us for a few years. You ask us essentially the same 30 questions in this application to receive funding for future grants. And it's a lot of work for us to do. How about we just send you our annual report, and if you have follow-up questions, you can ask those questions, but that would be sufficient for us to submit ourselves for a next round of funding. The funder said, no, we're not willing to do that, but instead of 30 questions, how about 4? Hello. So they, in one conversation with a donor, with a funder that is all in with them, has been a returning, retained funder who is giving multi-six-figure gifts here, saying, hey, look, the 30 question application isn't working for us. It's not sustainable. So how about this? And working out what is a true win-win. The funder doesn't want you to have to waste your time filling out an application. They want you to get your mission done. That's why they're funding you, right? I mean, these are the kinds of conversations that you need to be having to relieve yourself of unnecessary work. Asking questions like, hey, what is the minimum that we could do to sufficiently report back to you what we did with your money, what we did with your investment? And here is a menu of our first, second, third choice options. Our preference would be to send you an annual report and to have one-on-one meeting throughout the year to check in, to share updates. That would be our preference. And if they say, no, that doesn't work for us, okay, great. Our second choice would be that we send you, you could send us 3 to 4 questions. We answer those questions and we send you the annual report. And in this case, that funder said yes. They started doing this with all of their large funders, renegotiating and having real, honest conversations with their partners and saying, look, what we're doing is too much of a workload for us to report back to you. So what would make sense for you? And here's what would make sense for us. We're open to finding a win-win here. And that actually changes the ways that funders relate to other nonprofits. This is how we influence the philanthropy sector, by having these kinds of conversations. So if you want to create a more sustainable culture, funders are going to follow your lead. They cannot create the difference in the world that they tell everyone they create without your nonprofit. It doesn't happen. And especially if you're effective. It is, funders and donors tell me all the time, and tell my clients, it is so easy to give money away. If you want to appear philanthropic, it's easy to do. It is difficult to make a sustained impact. And so if you are effective, then you have more leverage than you think you do, and you likely stand out in your donor's philanthropic portfolio because you have your ish together. And when you have these types of business partnership conversations, as if you are speaking to a peer, because you are, then that elevates the way that you are perceived. You're building trust, you're building credibility, and you're strengthening the relationship. You are shoring up the long-term sustainability of your organization by getting real with the people who are actually in your corner and talking to them like that. And negotiation is a part of that. If someone says to you, hey, our process is, we have you fill out this 20-page application before we give you 10 grand. Is that really worth your time? Tell them, hey, look, you know what? What we typically do for a 10K gift, which we're so grateful to be considered for, is we have, a 30-minute conversation. That typically is sufficient for most funders. If that doesn't work for you, then we're going to have to decline. Get some freaking self-respect. Stop doing the absolute most when you could simplify your life. It is possible. And I have seen all of my clients do this. They renegotiate what was previously expectations and the status quo that was slowly burning them out and maxing out their team's capacity. Now they're able to do things in a sustainable way that is a win-win for them and the donor or the funder, and that doesn't require, frankly, unnecessary work. Because the funder came back and said, you know what? All we really need are these 4 answers to these 4 questions. That's what we really need. Great. Great. Maybe that won't be the case for you. Maybe it's going to move from a 30-question application to a 10-question application. Isn't that worth one conversation? And now, moving forward, you have completely changed the relationship and the dynamic. And then that will give you a boost of momentum and energy and enthusiasm to go and have those kind of conversations with other donors and other funders. If you're looking to simplify your life and raise millions without doing the most, this is got to be part of your strategy and a tactic that you use. It's something that I've done, and it's something that my clients all employ. And what I see a lot of mistakes that are made in our sector is donors say things like, well, send me your pitch deck, send me your proposal, send me your business plan, send me. And what you do is you go back to your office and you create something from scratch. Oh my gosh, they need a business plan. So we got to make a business plan. Oh my God, how do I make a business plan? Or, oh, they said they wanted a proposal. So we need how do I, you're Googling it. You're looking it up. You're looking at blogs, you're watching free videos, whatever it is, to try to figure out how to, and what the donor is saying is, I need to know that you have a plan. Now, maybe 2 out of 10 are actually saying, send me a real business plan. And you have to make a decision, a values-based decision. Is this going to be the type of donor that we want more of? And if the answer is no, then it's time to draw a line in the sand with this particular donor. Because whoever you are accepting as a donor, you are saying to the universe, you're putting it out there, we want more people like this. So if you don't want donors who want a full business plan before they consider giving you $10,000 or $20,000 or whatever it is, then don't accept that. Say, hey, look, you know what? I'm happy to answer questions about our strategic plan, but we don't really typically share business plans with people that are new donors or people who are not board members. Most of the time, it's unnecessary. And it kind of seems like you're not at a place yet where a major gift makes sense for you. And that's fine because it's an indicator of a lack of trust. It's an indicator of a lack of putting in the time to build the relationship. They just don't know you well enough yet, and that's okay. So negotiation and actually getting real and communicating what works for you, because otherwise they are clueless. Clueless. And you might be thinking, well, Julie, shouldn't they know that we're so overworked? Don't they know that we need money? Don't they know that we need it yesterday? Don't they? No. It may be frustrating to you, but not every nonprofit in the world needs more cash. Not every nonprofit in the world is currently looking to raise 6 and 7 figure gifts. Donors do not know what you need unless you tell them. They do not know that it's too much work for you unless you tell them. They do not know that something isn't working for you unless you tell them. You have got to step up. And when you do, they will. That's how it works. You cannot expect them to read your mind or to step up without you stepping up first. You're a leader. The next is, in order to raise millions sustainably, you really need to simplify your messaging. And this takes a serious commitment to your goals. This takes courage. If you believe that you need a 25 slides slide deck or a 17-page proposal with all of these charts and graphs and blah, 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 in order to ask for $1 million gift, then you won't likely raise $1 million gift very often because of how much work it takes. You just don't have the time. You don't have the time to do that if that's what you believe it takes. Here's what I've found to be true in my own experience and what I've seen happens with my clients. It makes them wildly uncomfortable how little a donor needs to give away as much money as they do. They might need a 3 or 4 page document, and seeing that you have a strong brand, seeing that you are fulfilling the promises that you made in the past, and that they like you as a leader and they trust you. And that's it. They don't need, and here's what I see my clients in their mindset, and so many executive directors, so many CEOs, heads of growth, VPs of development, when they think about taking a donor from giving $100K a year, let's say, to asking for a $2 million gift, it's like, well, we need to build the relationship more. They need to come take a tour. We need to send them our pitch deck. We need to create a custom proposal. We need to do a custom video from the board chair. We need to do the most. This whole campaign, we need to do a digital campaign. And you really don't. And they do not need a PhD in your mission and your programs and your initiatives and all of the data. They do not need to be as educated as you to give away $2 million. They just don't. Likely you are overcomplicating the shit out of this. And it's not necessarily your fault. I mean, It would stand to reason that given your current effort, if you're raising 100K with the current donor experience that they're getting, that you would need to do more to ask for more, right? And that makes sense. And also, we are the people who are high achieving, we're the kind who go above and beyond. We're the kind who care about excellence and want to bring our very best. And you're not afraid of hard work. Neither am I. I totally get that. That's your MO. I'm your people. And I think you know that if you're listening. And a better question to ask is, why does this donor give? And what's the bare minimum that they need to feel great about this $2 million gift? And when you learn what that is for that particular donor, it's typically less than what you would have done if you came up with it on your own. And simplifying your messaging looks like, let me give you an example. Your big, hairy, audacious goal, your vision for the future, the measurable impact that is time bound that you want to have. Let's say that you want to house 10,000 people in the next 5 years. Then that alone can sometimes be enough to raise a major gift. If you have trust, if you have credibility, if you have a relationship with that donor and they've been giving, it's not presumptuous to ask for more because they're already giving. What it takes from you is to simplify, why are you asking for more? Simplify your message to indicate clear impact. If you're raising more because you're serving people, you're serving more people. If you've been housing 1,000 people a year and now you want to 3x that, that makes sense. You would need to raise more money for that. You want to house more people. If you want to serve the current people that you're serving in a deeper way, in a more holistic way, that's also growth. That makes sense that you would need to raise more money to serve your current community in a more holistic way. That is enough. And if that goal is measurable, meaning number of people served, and time bound, meaning there is a deadline, we want to do this by the end of 2025, let's say, or by 2026, then you're making it really simple that it's the increased gift is connected to your increased impact. Clear and simple. All of your donors do not need to know how the sausage is made in order to give away $2 million. And this is coming from someone who has raised tens of millions. And I've helped my clients raise even more than I have personally. And we're doing it right now as you are listening. My clients are asking for $6 million and 1.7 and all of $750,000 gifts, multi-year commitments. This is what's currently working for them. A simple message that is clearly understood of how an increased gift creates increased impact, period. And if you want to talk about your long-term vision, if you want to share with your donors, here's what's been working, here are some of the challenges. When you talk about challenges and the stuff that isn't working or that you're figuring out, you're still struggling through, it builds credibility and trust. It doesn't take away from that. When you act like giving $2 million to your nonprofit is a sure thing, and you're absolutely 100% certain it's going to create a certain impact, you're actually out of touch with reality. Does anyone remember 2020? I mean, who could have predicted that we would have a global pandemic, that it would have changed everything for us, for everyone, forever, forever. So You acknowledging any shortcomings with your team or challenges or things that you're still working on builds trust with your donors. They think, oh, this person's realistic. This person actually has a handle on who they are and what they're working with. They have stuff together. They're not delusional. They're not Pollyanna pie in the sky. They're living in the real world where they're making big bets. They're confident and convicted. They have really bold and ambitious goals, but they're not delusional. There's stuff we're still working out. So, simplifying your message and getting real, get real. If you have really big impact goals in your strategic plan, it's going to take a lot of money. Stop acting like it's not going to take a lot of money. It is. And that's exciting because that means you're going to build deeper partnerships and more partnerships. That's what it's going to take. It's going to take more than just money from all of these partners. Doing these tactics takes real courage and it takes a commitment to your goals. If you choose not to do this, it typically leads to burnout, to raising too little, not being able to hire, not being able to move as fast as you need to, not hitting your impact goals, just one or two people on your development team carrying the lion's share of the revenue load, and other people not being able to pull their weight because you can't invest in their training and development. You need to get management training. You need to get leadership training to get the most out of your team, but you can't make those investments because you're asking for too little. Unsustainable. And if that's been the story for you, then I would love to connect with you. I want you to DM me on LinkedIn, Julie Ordonez. If you are interested in working together, I may have a program that can help you. If you want to move fast and you want close access to me, there are two options. There's $1 Million VIP, which is private one-on-one with me and you and your team. And then there's $1 Million Cohort, which is a new group program where you can work with me closely, but it's in a group and we're focused on raising 6- and 7-figure unrestricted gifts from individuals in the next 6 months. And then there's Courage Lab, which is a really great program for folks who are newer to major gifts. You need to up-level your fundraising. You need to start asking straight up for $10,000 plus gifts from individuals. You need to get over the fear of asking and being clear and direct. And you need to step into being a leader in your donor's life. If that's you, sign up for Courage Lab. We start in September. September 10th is the next cohort. I'd love to have you. There are limited spots available for all of these programs. And then I also do monthly trainings that are open to the public. So you can come to those, bring up to 3 people per team. So you and 2 team members can come. You can check out julieordonez.com and go to trainings and see what training is upcoming. In the month of August, I am doing a training on end of year major gift strategy. It's a workshop. We're going to work together and plan out your roadmap for all the major gift asks you're going to make, any engagement strategy that you need, and your projections of what you will raise September through December of 2024. If you want to join me, you can head to julieordonez.com/training. I would love to have you. There are only 40 spots available for 40 teams. It's a really great opportunity for executive directors, development directors, any heads of development and major gifts teams to come and work on your projections for the end of the year and portfolio assignments. We'll talk through all that stuff. I don't want you to miss it. It's going to be really fun. This is the type of work that I do with my clients one-on-one in $1 Million VIP and $1 Million Cohort. And thanks so much for listening. I hope that this was encouraging to you. I hope that you start to implement more sustainable tactics for you and your team so that you can work smarter and better and not do more of the same that leads to burnout, that leads to unsustainable way of working and too little funding for your nonprofit. Your mission is worthy of millions, and I want to see you win. I'm in your corner. Until next time, bye.